Hey there, everyone. How are you? I'm really excited about this video because I have never actually done a review on white nights. I know, despite the fact that I probably own like every tube of white night that is out there. When I first started, I totally bought a lot of white nights because I really enjoyed working with it. And, it was a great deal. Seriously. I'm in Canada, and sometimes when you're working with watercolors, you're doing a lot of things. I was doing a lot of prints at the time, and it didn't really suit me to spend a ton of money on watercolor to do prints because I wasn't selling the originals. I was keeping my originals. So it was kind of fun to just mess around. But with that being said, these are light fast. So if you guys want to win some paint, I'm actually going to do some giveaways over the next couple months in our group page. So be sure to click on the link in the description if you want to go to our group page for abstract watercolor artists. We have so much fun in the group page. I mean, that's where you guys told me you wanted to go ahead and review these paints next. We just did Sennelier, and that was really, really fun. We did this one, which was the test pack, and this was amazing. I mean, really, for $20, this is such a great deal. So be sure to go back and look at this video. I think you guys will really enjoy watching it and learning more about Sennelier as a professional paint. Plus, you get this cute tin. You know what I mean? It's great. And just so you know, with this kit, I was able to put my own pans in here with some magnets and take the colors that came in the test kit and start manufacturing all these other colors, so that just from this one $20 test kit, I not only get this cool tin, but on top of it, I get to paint in pretty much any color that I want, which is nice. I like that. So this is what I painted with the Sennelier. I'm keeping this out because I want to compare this to the White Nights, seeing as I just did Sennelier. Let's see if it travels and it paints as nicely. I did notice some differences, so I'll go over the pros and cons as we get through here, but let's just first unbox this so that you can see how they come. So this is the 12 color 10 ml tubes. These tubes are huge. I mean, you get a lot of paint. You can do so much with this. Most of these are light fast. I'll go through them as we paint. And this is the Nevskaya Paletra from St. Petersburg, from Russia. And yeah, beautiful paints. Really, really beautiful paints. So they come in this box. The big difference between the tubes and the palettes, honestly, guys, is I feel like the tubes, you get a lot more paint. I think, yeah, they are. They're definitely, once you re-wet them, they definitely are stronger to work with, easier to work with in the pans because you're not constantly trying to get everything out of the pans. And I feel like you get a lot more paint. The palette that comes with the pans is horrible anyway. It stains. The little pans fall out of it. It jingles around. You can't really use it for travel. It leaks. I mean, I've heard so many different things about the pan palettes. Unfortunately, they just give you a plastic palette that is enormous, like this one that I never use. And it's difficult. You know what I mean? You don't want to make it harder on yourself. So there's our paints. Here's my little sample here. Where can I put this? I'll put our color swatches right over here. Yes. I need my water. I need my brushes. Okay. So you can see our color swatches, or maybe while I'm going through them. So these two I painted really quickly just to remind me of the pros and cons of working with white nights, because it has been a little bit of a while, but we're going to do something much different. We're going to paint on 100% cotton versus Fabriano. I think this is wood pulp. It's just they're both 300 grams. So they're really, really thick papers. But I want to swatch both because I want to kind of tell you the differences and work through the paint like I normally do on these comparisons. Okay, so let's put this aside. First, I have them in my palette, and I re-wet my palette already because I did notice that when they sit for a long time in your palette, they do dry up. They never really get hard and they don't crack, but they get like, they have this glossy finish to them. And I noticed that they do like feel kind of tacky, you know, like putty tacky. So it is a little bit of a different experience. But with that being said, they still paint great, you know, so you can put them in your own palette. So you don't have to every time squeeze them fresh from the tube. And that is amazing for non-professional grade student watercolors. Okay, so let's sample the first one. This is lemon yellow. So I'm just going to grab some on my brush here. And I always use a wet brush that has a nice amount of water to sample paints. I get a lot on the brush, and then I just kind of use the palette. And we're going to go over this area to see how light fast it is. Same here. Wet this bit. And I'm going to do a nice big swatch and go ahead and grab it out on the edges so that when this dries, we can see how light it actually dries. And that's why I did this. This is on wood pulp. This is on 100% cotton. Just a 100% cotton water paper block by Paul Rubens. I love this block. It's amazing. Okay, so far from what I'm seeing, lemon PY3 number 214 is supposed to be transparent, which it is. It actually looks a little semi-transparent because if you look, it's kind of hiding our line. So this would be a major difference between a student grade and a professional grade paint. But it's light fast. It's high light fast rating, and it also is non-staining. When it dries, we'll see how well it is for us to lift it. Okay. I think I'm just going to go ahead and paint as I go along here. So let's just throw some down. Very nice. Here, I'm just going to throw some down. Paints nice. The yellow paints really, really nicely. I'm adding a little water to it. It doesn't, like, it kind of stays put, right? So it's not one of those paints that moves around a ton. It does really stay put right where you put it, which I think for students, that's a really good quality to have in your paint. You know what I mean? Because I think that when you don't have that, you can easily kind of lose your way and, you know, feel like your paint's sliding all over the place because you're not used to it. When you get really good at watercolor, you're going to want the paint to go everywhere. Like, the more it moves, the better. All right, so this is Cad Yellow Medium. And according to the box, it says it's Cad Yellow Medium 201, PY35. It is a high light fast rating. It is opaque. And it is non-staining. It definitely looks opaque, but does it look more opaque than what they claim is not opaque? I don't know. Let's watch it dry, maybe. You know what I mean? Cadmium yellow is right here. So when I add water, I notice right off the bat that I can get much different qualities in this paint. Now, the difference being that if this were professional watercolor, I don't think that it would break apart. It doesn't really break apart. Like when you paint with Sennelier or any of our Schminke, Daniel Smith, it doesn't really split like that. Now this is something that's been happening on this paper though. So it could be the paper, and we're going to play with it over here just to see. Now when I add water and try to backwash it, let's see what that does. That's why I have a bigger sheet. Let's just add water here. It doesn't really travel. Not really. Now this is a hot press paper, so this paper is not cold pressed. It's not going to soak up the the paint is going to, you know, do what it does. But again, Cadmium Yellow Medium in White Nights, it's nice. I like it. It's a great warm medium, but it's not as, I would say, easy to paint with as professional grade cadmium yellow. But with that being said, it's still really beautiful and it's nice and it's very, very well priced. So just, you know, keep it in mind, because if you're a student and you're wondering why some of your paints are acting a little wicky, it could just be the paint. You know what I mean? So the next one is Golden Deep 217. This is the paint that I just really don't know why it's in here, because you could make this from this palette. They could have included something else, but it's fine. It's fine. You know, I just noticed that I put lemon twice. I don't know why. Okay, we're going to put the Golden Deep right here. Yeah, this is the problem with wood pulp paper. I believe it's the paper. I think it's just breaking everything apart. It just loves to break color apart, because you see the difference where this one is just really nice. And I'm gonna just backwash it here so that way we see what it does. Let's dry this out so that it doesn't get in the way of the other. So this one is supposed to be transparent. Yep, I see that. And yeah, I would say semi-staining. I think you can lift this one really, really well, actually. I could pretty much lift this off the paper and reduce it to nothing. So, you know, when they say it's semi-lifting, right? You can pretty much lift them. You can't, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to not lift them. So the next one on this list is Cadmium Red Light, and that is right here. So again, it's they're kind of tacky, but you can load your brush really easily, and then just add water, and that's how I get the most out of these paints. I add water and I mix it really, really well, and then once I have my brush loaded, I can go from there. So we're just going to go here. This looks very opaque. And it's supposed to be granulating too. So I have to reload my brush to get the full coat of the color. So you do have to really work a little bit. And then, so if you were using a sketchbook, this is kind of like the sketchbook paper, and this would be a little more of a good quality paper. You can see on sketchbook paper, it does break apart the color, which is expected. Cadmium red, and I'll create a little bit of a backwash, see what happens there. Let's see if we can backwash this. Let's add a little bit of this to our colors here. What was I doing? Yeah. Need more color. So I do have to use a little more of this paint to get the full color. If I were using a Sennelier or a Schmincke, Daniel Smith, I probably wouldn't need to grab so much paint. So there's something that's interesting. I mean, if you have to grab a lot more paint, are you going to go through it more? Is it maybe, you know, do you need, is that what goes on? You know what I mean? Let's see how it does here. Yeah. Doesn't love sketchbook. You definitely have to paint differently on a sketchbook. Things I can't do on the sketchbook. I have to go back in and really expand on getting more color and almost put it on thick. You know what I mean? To get it like that. Okay, let's go and grab that yellow and paint with that a little bit. Definitely performs better on the 100% cotton paper. It's a much different effect. It comes out lighter on the cheaper paper. But I have been experiencing this with this paper. I have a very strange relationship with this paper right now. I got some of it Fabriano, and I'm just not loving it. I'm just kind of working through this pad to give it its best try, but I'm not too thrilled with it. Not at all. Let me just finish this flower. Let's get a little of this one. Yeah, see, on good paper, you can literally get a really nice depth of color. You know, you can just do so much more. See, if I just do that strike on this paper, I get nothing. I literally have to use a very thick amount of paint to get the same kind of contrast that I can achieve with just a brush stroke. And this is interesting. I think that you'll learn a lot from this, just me doing this comparison, because you see what I mean? Like I'm getting this beautiful, see how I'm getting texture? I'm able to get texture here. Just by brush stroking. See how it's doing nice things, right? But when I do that with the cheaper paper, it definitely doesn't happen. I have to really, really work it, and it's splitting apart. So it kind of looks different, right? So the same things don't happen on the papers. And that's the paper. Okay, so I can see some of the granulation. I wonder how much paint. Now, usually with granulation, and this is a little lesson on granulation, you want to add a little more paint. You know, you want to be sloppy with your paint to really see the granulation. Otherwise, you might not see it if it's too light. Depends on the granulation, but like we're starting to see it. You'll see it. Okay, what's our next color? Oh, my favorite one, Carmine. Carmine is 319, made of PR19. It is a transparent and staining paint with a highlight fast rating. I like this color. This is beautiful. So, yeah, and this one just performs well. This is the color, this is the paint color in this palette that makes the whole palette worth it. This one and the ultramarine, both beautiful, but this Carmine, I love this paint. It even just feels different painting. It feels like it's a professional grade. So you're getting a great deal on this particular one, and I think you'll probably come back to it and even try to get a hold of it outside of a set. But it definitely, Carmine makes this set so worth the money. So see how different that is? Like when I use a nicer paper. This is such a good lesson for paper too, you know, showing you that sketchbooks aren't necessarily always the way to go when you're trying. Always go and try a nicer paper once you feel like you know what you want to paint. Because if you're struggling, a lot of people give up at the sketchbook phase and they never move on to their nice papers because they're so afraid of painting badly on them. But as you can see, the sketchbook papers always give me a hard time. And that, with the exception of Paul Rubens sketchbooks, I really like their 100% cotton sketchbooks. Unless you find a 100% cotton sketchbook, that would make a big difference too. All right, so let's get some more of this paint. Yeah, this paint just feels different under my brush entirely. And I'm gonna just swipe some on the color here. And let's do this. Let's go. Make some little branches. Okay. Love this color. It's just beautiful. So here I'm going to do this color on here. So we'll do a lighter version of it. I had to add a lot of water, and now it's going to be a soupy mess because it just wouldn't do anything. So there's a good way to get, so I just learned something. So if you want to get the most out of this sketchbook, I kind of have to make a soupy mess, and then with a staining, semi-staining color, and then I have to dry it off with a towel so that there's a lighter shade, and then I have to go back in and paint over it. So let me show you how I did that again. So we're just going to put this on the paper with a lot of water. Can you guys see? I want to make sure you can see this. So I'm just kind of dropping it in. Oops. It's okay. And then take a little bit of it off. Go back in with full strength paint. And then paint in the details. I'm kind of like all the way at the bottom here, so. There we go. I don't feel like putting my thing down. Okay, cool. Maybe I can put this further up so you guys can see it better. There we go. All good? Move over. Okay, there we are. All right, so far so good. Carmine. Oh, love you. I love you, I love you, I love you. Yeah, that definitely, for a staining paint, I mean, what do you think? I can lift it. I lifted it down here. Let's go on to the next one, shall we? Cerulean Blue. I have a lot to say about this blue. Okay, first, it does not re-wet great, but it's a beautiful blue. Does it look like a traditional cerulean? Not at all. Let me show you. So this is this cerulean blue. And let's see. Daniel Smith has a cerulean chromium. Look at that. So no, it's not a traditional cerulean blue. It does have some properties of the chromium blue, though. The chromium, and as you can see, how the color, see, no matter what I do, I'm still going to get a very light granulated color, where the Daniel Smith Cerulean Chromium definitely gives you more bang for the buck, right? It really does. And as far as like a true cerulean, this is a cerulean. This is a true cerulean right there. So see how beautiful that color is and how bright it is? That's the usual cerulean. It's so easy to paint with. This cerulean is a wonderful color, and it's really beautiful for skies, and it will definitely get the job done. The thing is that you really have to apply it thick, and you have to work at it a little bit. If you added some of the ultramarine to it, I really think you're going to have a gorgeous sky color that has a lot of granulation. So this is the difference between professional grade paints and the White Knight in this color. The carmine, no, not so much. The ultramarine, no, not so much. But in the cerulean, yeah, it does different things. But look at how beautiful it still is, though, when mixed with the ultramarine. It's just gorgeous, right? So this is just beautiful. And these were really expensive paints. These paints were like double what you would pay for this. So why not use it if you're going to use a lot of paints in the beginning? You know what I mean? You can see why I recommend the set, because even the paint, when it's not exactly like a an artist grade paint, at a student grade, you can get this paint to perform really, really well. I'm just telling you this though, because I don't want you to get discouraged if it is a little harder for you to get a certain result, depending on how you paint. Like you might find, if you can see right now on a sketchbook, that some of these are a little streaky, you know, and they might not streak as much. Like the Sennelier, you know, it didn't streak. It's really, really beautiful and it lays down right. But if I put it on here, it probably would streak. But this cerulean is really pushing around. You can really push this thing around the paper. So you're not going to be able to get a gradual wash with this cerulean like you would from a professional grade. But at the same time, it's a granulating paint. So why not let it be different? Why not let it be puddly and get the smoothness from your ultramarine? See how smooth this ultramarine is? Look how that goes on. That is just like a professional grade paint right there. Oh my gosh. Maybe they just added too many fillers to the cerulean because the cerulean is really expensive to make. You know what I mean? That could be it too. But use it for what it is. I think it's a beautiful color, and as you can see, it's just gorgeous when you take the qualities of the ultramarine and you add it to the cerulean. You get a beautiful, beautiful like thing that you can use on florals. You can use it for like hydrangeas. You could make some really great ocean effects with this, and you can also use it as a sky color, a really painterly sky color. It's not going to be a very smooth wash, but it's still going to be beautiful, right? And that's one of the pros and cons of this set over a really expensive set. But, you know, look, there's nothing stopping you from ordering a Sennelier cerulean, or even if you have Mission Gold, they have a great cerulean there too. There's also excellent ceruleans in Daniel Smith. So you don't have to get the chromium one that's a little more chalky. You know what I mean? You could get more of a clear color. But look at that ultramarine. That ultramarine's stunning. It's one of my favorite colors. This is 511 PB29. It's semi-transparent, semi-staining, and light fast. I love ultramarine. It is so nice. It really is. Did I paint it here? I did. Look, I marked twice. Why did I do that? This is so strange. I must have been really tired when I wrote down my mixing chart. Next is the greens. Let's go through the greens. Okay, so the emerald green. Yes, the emerald green. So it feels a little bit like in the palette, it feels a little like jelly. They do kind of feel a little bit like jelly, almost like a gouache set, but we know they're not. So let's see what the emerald does. Oof, yeah. This, again, is another reason why this set is good. The emerald is beautiful. And it's another paint that really does glide on like a professional paint. It's beautiful. This is a great mixing color. This is a great paint. Oh, I love it. It's lovely. So this is another pro for this set, is this beautiful green that you get. It's so nice. Oh my goodness. So nice. All right, so let's use this for my stocks because I love it so much. I should get out my rigger, but I don't feel like getting it. Just going to rough in some of these. And so pretty. I want to do more with this green because it's so nice. Okay, move this away so you don't get confused. Oh, I painted on the back of this. That's a me. That's a me move for sure. So let me get my smaller brush as I'm going through here. So I'm just going to grab some of this green because I love it so much. It's so beautiful. I'm using Neptune brushes for this tonight. So I'm just gonna drop in some rough little leaves. It even goes over the color pretty well too. I need a better angle. And a little more water. Yeah, this is pretty. I'm not leaving any room for the other color. It's so nice though. Okay, just roughing it in. Just roughing it in, guys. That's really pretty. Let's put some leaves over here. Let's see how this works. Beautiful. A little more depth of color. Yeah, this is just a gorgeous color to work with. Brushes sometimes also really make the artist, you know. I mean, as you can tell, I'm not doing much to make these little leafy-like marks on my paper, and I'm just going really quick. I could do some twists and turns to make interesting leaves, but I'm trying to save you guys some time here, because I'm sure you don't want to be here all night while I paint 2 paintings. Okay, I got to move on to the next color because it's just addicting. I want to do this, but I don't. Okay, next one is that it's like a forest green, but this is the one that we were kind of confused as to why they had it in the palette. I mean, it would be kind of equal to like a serpentine, right? Or an apatite genuine, but it certainly isn't going to be the kind of granulating beauty that we would hope it would be. So let's put it here. But with that being said, it's gorgeous. The problem is that its light fast rating is low. So you don't get a lot of bang for your buck here with this. You know, it's not going to deliver what you're expecting. The expectation should not be high because it kind of goes on like a serpentine or like the apatite genuine a little bit, but it's not light fast and it's not granulating. I would looking at it, I would think it was granulating, but it's not. I mean, it's beautiful. You know, it's a beautiful color. I'm trying to think of what I should paint. I think I'll just kind of create some extra greenery here. So we can have the color on our page because I want these to be over here. I love doing this actually. This is really fun. I'm so glad you guys are here doing this with me. Okay, need to wet my brush a little more. So what do you think so far? What's your favorite color of this palette that you like? This is actually, you know, it's sad that this one is not light fast because it's truly a beautiful color, you know? I'm going to use this to just kind of give us a little foreground and contrast. You can kind of see the color a little bit better. It's really beautiful. I mean, I can kind of, I'm glad they put it in there. I know I'm kind of like, why did they put in, you know, a color in here that isn't as well of a performer and that might fade over time, but it's student grade paint, and this is just a gorgeous color to play with. It's really, really quite nice. So as you can tell, I am managing through both papers pretty well, just with a little bit of variations on how I'm painting. But overall, we're doing pretty good with both of the papers. Let's just add a few more. I'm not leaving any room for the darker tones, but we'll work it out. We'll figure it out. Okay, so we've got both of those and we have them on our palette. All right, so now let's switch to here. We're going to go over these last couple and then I'll do some mixes for you really quick. All right, so we know the tubes are better than the pans. That's one of the pros versus the cons, because the tubes are more concentrated and the pans are in a terrible pan. I mean, a pan that's just ridiculous that will just bother you if you use it. So the next one is Raw Sienna. This one was a little harder to re-wet, but can still be done. It's no problem. Nothing is a problem. This was supposedly opaque and granulating. I still feel that this is not the best color, Raw Sienna. It's okay, but I still feel that this didn't need to be in the palette. It's not like the nicest. It's not like as nice as a yellow ochre, but it's probably performs a little bit better than yellow ochre, but yeah, it looks a little less cloudy than the traditional yellow ochre. But the Raw Sienna, it's okay. There's a nice Raw Sienna in Mission Gold, actually. That's a student grade. And that's really pretty good. So what am I going to do with this? Let's see. Okay, that's pretty light. Let's just draw something with it so we can have it. Okay. And what am I going to add here? I left no room. I literally have no ideas for this one, for this color, and I don't want to put it in there. Maybe we'll leave it out. Just put it in the mixes. I don't know. Oh, heck. Here we go. I might surprise myself. I'm kind of uninspired by this color, but it's okay. I put it in. Sepia. Another color that I just don't even know why it's in this palette. I do not like this sepia. It's so dark. I mean, I guess for student grade, right? It's a convenience color. So this would be like, I mean, having it in there is convenient, I suppose, right? Because you don't want to mix your own. And so we're going to use this as the darker part of our branches so that our branches have a little shadow. There we go. Yeah, that's not bad. It gave us a little bit of, it gave me a little bit of texture. So I didn't have to, so far, I guess the thought process is behind student grade paint is that you're not good at mixing your own colors yet. So these are two convenience colors that were included. So overall, it's really great. You know what I mean? To have it. Where's my black? Oh, there it is. It was hiding. Okay, we're on to the last one. So the black is really difficult to re-wet. And I'm going to want, yeah, it doesn't love to be re-wet. So I probably would advise you, yeah, okay, it did all right. I was just going to say we might not want to add it to our palette. You might want to add it fresh and just a little bit, but it did fine. Look at that. It did good. So for black, it's definitely non-transparent. It says it's semi-transparent. It is just not. If you lay that black down, you get black. You get definitely black. I can lift it a little bit. So this is Lamp Black 801. It has a light fast rating of 3, which is the higher light fast rating. PBK 7. So I'm just going to add a little bit just to my paintings here. Let's see. You'll see what I'm doing with this in a second. You're like, what is she doing? Okay. Ooh, I just got green all over me. So, you know what you can use the lamp black to make? You can use the lamp black to make a beautiful indigo. Let's go ahead and mix that. Let's just add some here really quick. I don't want to burn up a lot of time because this isn't a masterpiece by far. It's just, these are just tests. So what we would do is we would take some lamp black, put it over here, and then we would take some, I hope I didn't just put that over the sepia. I think I did. This was the lamp black again. Take some ultramarine and add it in. And where are we going to put this? Here. I'll put it up here. So I need a little more ultra. There we go. And we've got a nice, this is almost like, well, right now I have like a Prussian. So you can get a really beautiful Prussian, add a little more black, and you're going to get a really nice deep indigo if you work that in with your ultramarine. And it will be granulating too, because remember, this ultra is granulating. So there you go. Just so easy. You got another color right there. Actually, two colors. You have this Prussian color, just kind of like a, almost like a navy blue. And then you have a very, very deep inky indigo. Isn't it beautiful? If you mix cerulean with the lemon yellow, my water's so dirty at this point. I got so much paint on my brush. There we go. Let's see what kind of green. You get a nice green. Beautiful green. It's a nice spring green. Add a little more of the cerulean and you get almost like a little more into the teal. It's a nice, cool, beautiful, cool green. Look at that. And it's granulating. If you take the ultra and you mix the ultra with the lemon, and you get another green. It's kind of like a bluey green, which would be a little more like a Cascade green from Daniel Smith. It's beautiful, close to a sap green. Then if you mix ultra with carmine, I love the carmine. Carmine and ultra are worth it. You get this beautiful, look at this color. Oh yeah. So now Add some little flowers to our, I guess, cherry blossom branches. And see, I used, the reason why I put the black there was just to get a little more depth of color. I love that. Isn't that beautiful? A little bit of ultra. Ooh, and I got a nice little purple if you go a little more, if you go a little deeper. This is actually really fun. I think I said that before, but just to reiterate that I'm having a good time doing these. These are relaxing because, you know, there's like no pressure. Look at that. So we just got 2 different colors. If you add a little more ultra, you get this beautiful purple. If you add a little more carmine, you get that, that lovely raspberry. That's beautiful. And this is like definitely not student grade. So look at that. How pretty is that color? Look at that we got. That's just lovely. And it's granulating. That's really nice. If you mix the Cad Yellow, oh man, this is going to be a nightmare because I literally have other colors on here, but you mix the Cad Yellow with the carmine. And let's see what we get. So you get this like burnt orange. So this looks like the Chinese orange from the Sennelier paints that you guys liked so much. And I can actually kind of go in here and add another layer with the Chinese orange to my painting, just to give it a little more character, so that we don't have any flat paint areas. That's beautiful. So I'm just kind of rolling it through. I don't have a lot of this made, but just like that. Look at that. Looking good. Looking good. Look at all those mixes. The beautiful colors that we're getting now. Now see how it's just blending? They're really, really pretty. What happens if we take a little bit of the emerald and mix it with, oh yeah, you get that really bright, almost like a fluorescent green. That's incredible. Look at that. Look at how many colors you can get. Beautiful. Cad Red. Let's a little Cad Red here. And what are we going to put with it? Let's put the lemon. You can pretty much put lemon yellow with anything and it will always produce like a really bright version of the color for you. The cool lemon yellow just does a good job. See how it's like a completely different, let me just remind you of what made those 2 colors. There you go. That's a nice mix right there. All right. Was there anything I'm forgetting? I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I don't know, maybe not. Okay, so I think we did pretty good. So let's take a look. This is the on the Paul Rubens 100% cotton block. We have all of our beautiful colors. They look beautiful. As you can see, some of them backwashed and they did pretty well. The cerulean, it doesn't move around a lot, but it has some qualities, like we said before, that you could really, really do some great things with. Yeah, that would be a beautiful sky right there. So alone, it's not the best color. Mixed with ultramarine, it's amazing because you're going to get the good qualities of this professional grade ultramarine in with the cerulean that has a little too many fillers in it, but together you're going to have ultra granulation and some really beautiful things happening that will surprise you, I think, no matter what paper you put it on. The emerald green, totally worth it. Lemon, totally worth it. The carmine, excellent. These are really good convenience colors too. And there's a warm yellow, which we can always use. The emerald, perfect. This actually, I love this color, but it really is, it could fade over time. So don't use it lightly and just be careful you know, to make sure that you seal it. The Raw Sienna, it's convenient. It's a good color. It did good with the branches. And like I said, sepia, that's probably why it's good to have, even though you could just put black and Raw Sienna together and you would get something like this. But at the same time, you know, maybe they wanted to include the sepia. I don't know. I feel like they could have had something else here, though. Like a phthalo would have been great. Like a phthalo blue. I would have rather had more blues. I made a beautiful indigo, and, you know, you can easily add a little cerulean too, and you get a little bit of that mix. That would be beautiful. So there's a lot of blues you could come up with just with the black, the cerulean, and the ultramarine here. There's a ton of greens, from the really bright fluorescent greens to the very light springy greens, even the kind of moody greens. You can get some gorgeous purples. I mean, you can pretty much mix anything that I have in any other color right here. And as far as the painting on 100% cotton, I think it turned out really well. I like it. I think it turned out really, really good. Compared to the Sennelier, let's see. That's what we wanted to do, right? What do you think? Sennelier has a little more depth of color, but, you know, in the light, not bad. I see some areas of the Sennelier that performed a little bit better in the mixes with the depth of color and, you know, the values. That's something that professional grade paint will leave you once it dries. When this dries, I notice that this color that is not light fast, it really doesn't dry great. It kind of spreads in a strange way and leaves, and it gets flat and it gets very, very light. So that is probably the color I would not use in this palette, just because I think the performance of it is not wonderful. I think I would rather like mix the emerald with something else on the palette to get this green, or I would just go right to Daniel Smith and get their either Appetite Genuine or Serpentine Green, and, you know, call it a day. I would like that. That's really nice. There's so many colors to get. The painting turned out good, though. I don't love the painting as much on the cheaper paper. I think it looks good, but it looks like a student quality painting, where this looks a little, it's almost like we could have worked with it and done a little bit more. With that being said, you know, it still looks great, and I love the colors, and I think that for a quick sketch, it was terrific. I'm just a lot more happy with this one. But overall, yeah, you're going to love White Nights. I think it's a great set to get, and the price just can't be beat. So if you can get your hands on this in the tubes, not the pans, I highly recommend it. All right, guys, that is my my review for this. If you want to see me review some more paint, by all means, please leave me a note below. And if you want to enter this contest, all you have to do is paint something that you saw here, like anything. Paint some flowers for us and leave them on the group page underneath the contest giveaway, and you might be my winner. And I'll be giving away some of this wonderful, sending you some of this wonderful White Night paint, since I have so much of it. Don't forget, the group is linked up in the description box below. So if you want to win yourself some White Night paints, I've got tons of them. I've got all the colors, all kinds of goodies. There's so many nice ones. Yeah, they are really good, aren't they? Okay. I love playing with paint. Have a great one, you guys, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.